YouTube, what it do is your boy Benji, and we are back in between the ropes. We love all things entertainment this way, and we have been taking that huge affinity towards wrestling. And look, the last video I made, or maybe it was 2 videos ago, I don't remember, but I just watched AEW Dynamite for the first time ever. Now, this is the first time me catching AEW Collision. Dynamite absolutely impressed me. So, hopefully things continue onward towards Collision. This is episode 100, so check it out, man. So, I will say, I have to salute AEW for the way they present their TV shows, via commentary, vignettes, promos, etc., as well as a lot of the graphics we get on the screen, because somebody like me who's never watched an episode other than the last one, I'm lost. I don't know a lot of these people, so I might butcher some names, but I gotta salute them for at least making it easy for me to jump in and catch up with what's going on. So the TNT champion, Adam Cole, shows up and acknowledges how far they've come in 100 episodes, how good the product is, and how AEW has the best fans. It doesn't take very long for Kyle Fletcher to interrupt. Kyle Fletcher has some crazy glasses on, and he says the next 100 episodes will belong to him. And he reminisces about All In 2023, which was one of the worst nights of his life. But it's very obvious he doesn't seem like what's going on in the future is going to be any remnant or contain any remnants of the past. So while he's spinning this heat, it doesn't take very long for Daniel Garcia. Just go ahead and interrupt and mention that he should get a stab at the belt as well, because he wants to be a part of the future. You can't mention the future without mentioning Daniel Garcia. Adam Cole has got things figured out. He grabs the mic and says, you know what? All three of these guys should just battle in a triple threat match for the championship. Kyle Fletcher does not like that idea because he doesn't believe his path has been fair. And so it's only right that they handle things in a different fashion. Garcia actually agrees, and he says it shouldn't be so easy. And what he should do is, since these two are fighting anyways later this evening, the winner of that match should get the title shot. Brother, pride is a terrible thing. He even mentions how he's been beaten by so many people, yet this dude really decides to take the opportunity to avoid a main event title shot, potentially, in triple threat, and puts all his money on himself. Pride will do it. Right after this, we get a Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné hype video. And I'm not going to lie, bro. Toni Storm is incredibly entertaining. I've barely been able to see much of her in these 2 episodes that I've watched, but dude, she's entertaining. I actually do rock with this whole blast from the past thing she's got going on. But the promo was actually pretty entertaining as well. She gives advice to the little girls that might be watching their match, begging for an opportunity to catch a pay-per-view, and lets them know this is going to be one of the greatest women's matches of all time. And advises them that when you finally take a stand against your bully, you have every right to, I quote, rip their bloody tits off. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And especially if you got a bully here that's willing to take every belt in the universe. She's collecting the things like Thanos was collecting the Infinity Stones. I'm actually excited to watch this match, but the build that I've seen just in the last 2 episodes has been solid. And again, they haven't even done much speaking to one another. A promo vignette and how menacing Toni Storm was watching Mercedes Moné's last match. I'm sold. Right after this, we get a Shelton Benjamin versus Nick Wayne, who is the ROW champ, versus Kevin the Jet Knight, triple threat match. And I ain't gonna lie, bro, Shelton Benjamin is presented perfectly. Powerful, calculated, but also stoic. These guys obviously have beef since the last episode and the episode prior, I guess. But anyways, Shelton immediately targets the Jet's ribs. And dude, Shelton's amazing. He's just throwing these guys around. There's really a good blend of athleticism and good wrestling moves in the midst of this match. I do like Nick Wayne too. It's obvious that he's one of the bad guys here, but he's physically smaller than these dudes. But I like that he's able to be savvy with the way he attacks. I mean, look, when these guys are going at it and they beefing, he makes sure he excuses himself out of the ring, and then he takes some calculated attempts when any of these guys have their guard down to jump in and take advantage. Just hilarious. Yeah, as we get the ending of the match to culminate, Nick Wayne does this like springboard rolling into a stunner thing apparently called the Wayne's World. It was nice. He goes for the pin, but Kevin Knight leaps off the top rope and is able to pin Shelton Benjamin. So apparently this will then lead to him. I think his tag team name is Jet Speed. They get a triple tag team match against Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, and Christian Cage's team at All In. Right back into the action, we get a Mystico and Hologram and Mark Briscoe versus RPG Vice and HECHICERO match, which is pretty exciting for what it is. A nice blend of styles too. This is kind of what I like too, that we're not just getting we're not getting the luchadors fighting against the luchadors, not having the guys that come fresh out of New Japan fighting against New Japan. We have a blend of it all. And so early on in this episode, it's nice to see that we've got guys utilizing completely different styles, and we're able to see these guys being savvy with how they attack and how they're able to utilize their styles. I mean, even in this match, we had some physicality early, a little rambunctiousness coming from guys like Mark Briscoe, but then you have your guys like Mystico and Hologram, who are extremely talented and are able to utilize some of that cat-like quickness and agility. But yeah, man, the match begins with a lot of early strikes, and look, the bad guys try to work hard, man. There's early distraction leads to Briscoe smashing his face in a chair after getting tripped. But again, an entertaining match. Mystico is able to get the submission, and his team wins. It isn't long into the celebration before MJF and MVP pop up on the screen. And dude, these guys are just, they're good. They're good, man. They're really entertaining.
You like that? I know how to speak Spanish, baby.
It's so funny though. Anyways, he starts it off by telling Hologram to teleport back to the hotel, and he wants to talk to Jabroni, like we saw, and El Jabroni. These guys eventually start going off on a rant where they insult the poor, but they're specifically targeting Mark Briscoe in this jeers and jabs. And he points out how important it is for him to roll with his clique. He's not going to do this Dolo just promo against Mark Briscoe, because it doesn't benefit him, which I'm not mad about. Why would you acquiesce to this dude? You believe him to be beneath you. He's just a stepping stone in your path to get what you want. We're not having a conversation on your grounds terms. This segment, I ain't gonna lie, was super entertaining. I do like the blend of entertaining characters that we get, serious characters, and then just completely talented guys. At the end of the day, the whole roster seems like they're pretty good at wrestling. So far, what I'm able to see, there's a pretty diverse character cast. But this guy here, Max Caster, comes out and addresses himself or acknowledges himself to be one of the best wrestlers in the world. Actually, the best wrestler in the world, I think is what he said. And he asked the people in the crowd to chant his name. And after a couple mixed responses from the crowd, he gives up and just says to chant for "This crowd sucks," and the crowd actually obliges him and does it. That's skill. We do get the graphic too that lets us know as viewers that this guy is 0-14. So we ask anybody in the back to come out there and challenge him, and apparently we get a vignette or video response from Scorpio Sky, who I guess has been gone for the last 2 years, and this is his debut back on TV. And he's actually a Orange County native, so they're filming again in Ontario, California. So skip and a hop away from him. So he shows up and shows out. He beats this dude Max in like 55 seconds. There's a couple dope backstage segments where Anthony Bowens and Billy Gunns are talking about how they need to get on the same page. And then Ricochet comes out there and the reporter asked Ricochet for his thoughts on what was expressed to him and like a couple episodes prior. He says it's nobody's business, but what he can get is some actions, and actions speak louder than words. So he motions for the cameraman to follow him, and there's a lot of beat up boys in the back. We do get a Willow Nightingale match too. She absolutely destroys this woman. Vipers, I believe it was, destroys her. I was like kind of in and out of this match, but there was an onlooker in the midst of this match too. So this is my turn or something. Now this match was really exciting. This was what are these guys? The FTR against the Outrunners. This was actually a really good tag team match. Dude, we literally had like two Hulk Hogan Juniors they're like hulking up and doing all this stuff in the match, but it was a really good match. I mean, we got dudes getting their heads busted open. There was a lot of near falls. Dude, the crowd was electric on this one because we were all on the edge of our seats trying to figure out who was going to win this thing. There was taunts, there was reversals, slams, aerial assaults, the whole nine. We then got an 8-woman tag match, which was absolutely crazy. Again, I do like that there are so many characters that are involved in plot lines and storylines, and we even got to see a lot of these things intersect in some of these tag matches and in the midst of some of these promos between some of the guys. We did get booty to face in this match. I repeat, we did get it. There was a dope little sequence, too, where multiple people got superplexed, and then things turned the tides as Rosa almost eats some moonsault, yet she's able to get a reversal. And I believe Athena was tagged into the match and started putting in work, but actually she wasn't even tagged in. She really just started wrecking house. She didn't really care. She just started like whipping people. But they face up. And majority of this match was Athena running away whenever Rosa even looked in her direction. And there was a meaning to it because these two are supposed to be matching up very, very shortly for the ROH Women's World Championship. But again, pride is the MF because Rosa starts to attack Athena and these two fight ends up spilling outside of the ring. Yet this is able to allow the bad guys to take over by utilizing some well-timed ref distractions to get a Megan Bain running power slam slam. Running power slam pin. But again, one of the plots in this match was a lot of the competitors actually supposed to be fighting in a 4-way for the number 2 spot at the Casino Gauntlet at All In. So we just got a little taste of what was going on. We finally hit the main event, which was Kyle Fletcher versus Daniel Garcia. And I ain't gonna lie, this match was pretty good. It also did not take me too long to realize that Garcia was the one that's been doing this viral dance. Dude, I've seen this dude like on a couple clips hitting the but I didn't know that was him. So it was kind of cool to see. Dude can go. He was nice in the ring. But yeah, after the match gets going, these guys end up outside of the ring, and Fletcher destroys Garcia before taunting and deciding to celebrate with the crowd. Garcia was busted open after being launched into the barricades, and once the fight gets back to the ring, he tries to start doing things like choking out Fletcher. He also hits Fletcher with a crazy German suplex to like the corner of the ring. It was pretty gnarly. And I ain't gonna lie, this match was entertaining too because we did get Adam Cole at the commentary desk to kind of watch who could potentially be his next competitor. And there was some really good and really nicely timed shots when things were going crazy, and we were able to get some Adam Cole reactions. Adam Cole had a very obvious bias, though, because while Garcia was getting whooped on the outside of the ring, there was a point in the match where we all believed that this dude was going to get counted out, and Adam Cole goes running over there to try and beg this dude to get back into the ring. And all that did was lead to a perfectly timed kick from Kyle Fletcher to then hit a brainbuster and win the match. Which means we're going to get Adam Cole against Kyle Fletcher. And I ain't gonna lie, like, this show does fly by. It is 2 hours, but they do pack it with a lot of content within 2 hours. Again, like I said, me getting introduced to a lot of the characters, a lot of the storylines, a lot of the beefs. It's done on me pretty quickly what's going on. And I will say that they've done a pretty good job at least having me interested in everybody that's got something going on. We've got some big time matches at the All In Texas Championship and non-championship matches. But it's very apparent and obvious that a lot of people are at least going for the gold. A lot of people are at least trying to prove their standings or their ground, which makes sense. What is the point of having championships if people don't want to go after them? So, I'm not going to lie, Dynamite was a pretty good episode as well. So, I'm assuming the layout is, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, we've got 2 separate showings per week. And they're not like roster specific or anything like that. It's just 2 different days where people are just booked to do whatever. Because, I mean, obviously, the Hurt Syndicate was on the Dynamite episode, but on Collision, I got to see Shelton Benjamin as well with MVP. So, looks like it was a culmination or at least a continuation of what happened last episode. So I'm still pretty excited for what may happen. I guess it's next Wednesday is the next show. and what this means for a lot of the competitors as they head into All In Texas. There's going to be some good wrestling. There are some good stories going into this as well. I mean, this could be big for a lot of the competitors there, and I'm actually excited to try and maybe check out an event if they're ever nearby. But yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I'm hooked. I'm locked in. I'm absolutely excited to watch it because from what I've been seeing so far, it's been good wrestling, and I'm captivated. I'm captivated by what some of the storylines got going on. I'm hip. I'm hype. 2 episodes in, I'm hooked. So, and look, I see a lot of y'all in the comments too, telling me what to check out. So, I'm excited.